Greetings and salutations, this is Rick Copple. Welcome to another episode of Not a Linux Guru Guy. Today we're going to take a peek at another distro that I used to use a long time ago. Matter of fact, it's my first distro I ever used. Successfully, I should add. Had a few hiccups starting with installed Debian back in 2021 on the thing. Didn't get very far with that. And then I installed Ubuntu around 2007, 2008, somewhere around there. And I experimented with it a little bit, but then I had to just swiped it off because I couldn't use it at the time because of some Windows programs I had. I stayed interested in it, and when I finally got in 2011, somewhere around there, I first spent about 2 or 3 months getting my distro set up with alternate programs I wanted to use, things of that nature. Finally figured it out, and I had a dual boot system with Windows at the time. But the system I used that was my first successful operating system I ever used, Linux, was Lubuntu. So we're going to take a peek at that today for the first time in several years, see what changed on it. That'll be a cool idea. I'm going to take a break, a little bitty break here in my Manjaro desktop interviews, but we'll get to those later. But anyway, want to take a peek at this. So down in the description down below, we'll have time markers where you can skip the beginning of this part where we talk about how to create USB sticks if you don't want to watch that, or the installation of the OS, which is Ubuntu. If you don't want to watch that, you can skip straight over to the review part of it. Let's go from there. That's what we'll do. Let's get to it. Okay, if I've got this correct, I should be looking at my Ubuntu website, basically. So you know how to get a hold of this one, the correct one. There's actually another site out there, lubuntu.net, I think it is. It's not the official site anymore. Not sure what happened there with it, but anyway, go to Ubuntu, go to download here. See right down here, Lubuntu flavors. Now you notice it says lubuntu.me. That's the official website of Lubuntu apparently. And then you can download. And I can click this here and you download your 64 desktop on the Xubuntu Hippo. I think the one on lubuntu.net doesn't have a recent of a download. You want to download the correct one. And also when you click that and you say, well, it's downloaded, you can click on this file here and copy this. And then you put that into a text editor like Kate on my KDE system here, where you can put it onto anywhere, any text editor you have that you want to use for this. Paste it in the text editor. Then what you want to do is you want to go to another site. So we'll kill out of this real quick. What you want to do then is to go to your file manager, which in my case is Dolphin, since I'm on KDE Plasma here. And you want to go up to your downloaded file, which is Lubuntu right there is my where I got it. And then you want to click copy that. Like that, or however you want to copy it, but you copy the file. Then what you need to do is you need to go to a terminal. There's several ways you can get there from here, but I'll just do a simple way for me. I'll go to where I already have it here. Hey. And what you want to do is just like you show up there, you put an SHA 256 some. And you paste that in there. ISO. And this is one thing I like about Dolphin is it packs this file :// on the front of every thing. Nemo doesn't do that. It copies it just like you see it there, but Dolphin does that for some reason. So then you see that, and you wait for the SHA-256 sum to appear. It's already done up there, so it should be the same. And I copy that. Now I'm going to go to my K where I've already saved the paste of the other one from there. So, yeah. So I'll paste that there. Take a quick gander, make sure it matches up pretty much. Yep. Way down the line, pretty much matches up. It's the same one, yep. Same file that they have. So I know our downloaded with any corruption, didn't have any problems with it in that regard, so we're fine there. Always want to check that if it's all possible as a minimum, and just check that much at least when you do that. I'm going to take you through the whole process pretty much, most of what I can take you through on here, and I already discard that. Then we're going to go to we're back to our file manager, and you select that again. Right, he's popping up there, but anyway. Yeah, you got Lubuntu here. Now there's several ways to skin this cat. Or you want to burn it onto a USB stick, and you can download programs or install programs like Etcher or some similar. Rufus, I think, another one, popular one. Or you can use what anything that's built in your system now. In KDE Plasma, they have a program called Popsicle that will burn an image onto a USB flash drive to make it bootable, so you can boot into your new system that way. So anyway, yeah, so to use Popsicle though, fortunately they don't make it easy on here like they do on Nemo, and the other one is Mint has some similar Popsicle called Mint Stick. I should be able just to right click on this here, and I think somewhere down here, usually on Linux Mint, you should be able just to select burn ISO or something like that. Here we got this video here, other applications. Maybe Popsicle can find it. Should be in utilities, I think. ISO image writer. Basically Popsicle is called ISO image writer. Now if you want to make this one you mark that so it always shows up as an option. Now distro image. We got our ISO in there. We right clicked on that, so that should be the right one, yeah. Then you want to do your device download. This should show. Yeah, it shows my Seagate portable drive and my 4 GB drive, which is what I want. Yep, so it selects the right drive. It's my flash drive on the 4 GB flash drive. There's plenty of room for what we need. And then you simply say write. So you have to clear that. And then put in my password. And away it should go. So it's writing the file. Come back when it's done. Okay, it said that the operation completed successfully. And then we will go OK. X out of that. Now with that installed, you're ready to boot into your system. Okay, now we've got a setup on our GNOME box's virtual machine. Load Lubuntu in there. It'd be the same function if you were writing it, putting it on a real computer. You just simply connect your USB drive to your computer. So you should be able just to go into your either into your BIOS and select and make sure USB, or if you already have it set that way, then you don't have to do this, but make sure USB is the first device it chooses to try to boot from. If it's not there, then it goes on the hard drive and so forth. Otherwise, you can press usually F12 on most computers I've dealt with. That maybe another key checking the BIOS information. And you can do a search online for that if you need to. What key bindings do the work for most computers. Then you boot from this ISO. Now we've got it set in here. So we'll create and it'll load it and like okay, Lubuntu. Powered by Lubuntu. Looks a little snazzier than I remember on this part. Yeah, I used Lubuntu back in 2011 or 12, I think. Okay, it's my Linux desktop on Lubuntu. It uses LXQT desktop here. And looks pretty snazzy, as I said before, but yeah, this is just check it out here a bit. Now I've already programmed in some shortcut keys in this. But anyway, let's go to terminal. I also installed Kitty on here actually, and put it in as a key binding. I've used two. Anyway, top. Here's make this bigger so we get a bigger view of it. There you go. Yeah, right now it's got 696 megabytes. It's bigger than the virtual machine I had in before, partly because I've got this cooking with OBS on it and stuff. So it's got some things cooking on it at the moment. It's bigger than it would be normally. You open a fresh out of box like about 395 megabytes, I guess was. A lot of interesting stuff. And we'll look at the kernel that we have on here after updating and installing and updating this puppy. Yeah, Linux 5.11.0.25-25 kernel. Generic on it. Which is pretty good. Pretty good kernel, I think. It's not the lowest, it's better than the long-term support kernel, but it's not so not the latest and greatest either. So, and neofetch. And you can see we're running OpenBox Window Manager there. Nice Qt desktop. That's that. Now let's check out the menus. What you got over here? Now aside from OBS link and something outside of the box. So everything out of here is on the box. Accessories, you got your FeatherPad text editor, Calc, which is 80's calculator apparently. You got LQT file archiver, which will take care of archive files. Your PCMan FMQT, that's a file manager that you'd have in here. Flipper, QTPass, text info, Vim, Compton, Acom, and Noble Note. Apparently it's like a sticky note type thing, I think. Application. Games, just had this one. 2048-QT. Graphics. LX image. LibreOffice Draw, Screen Grab, and Scan Light. Internet, you have Firefox for your browser, you have Bluetooth information here. Use it to send files or just connect up to Bluetooth. An IRC chat thing, transmission, and Trojiters. Trojiters, sorry I pronounce that. Anyway, it's an email client apparently of some kind. I'm not familiar with it, otherwise I'd tell you whether it's good or not. In your office, you have your whole LibreOffice suite. Well, the thing that's missing from that is your database. Sound, you need to install your own music player if you want one of those. Your own video player. It's got VLC on there, but I always install a different one than that. I always install Celluloid because I like how that works, and the workflow in it is better for me. It plays pretty much anything I want to play. So OBS Studio, of course, I installed that to get this video, and the rest of it's there. Also, a lot of control. A3B, which I believe is, yeah, it's a burner. System tools, you know, all the stuff. You got Blue Wizard there. Discover, which is a app store type thing. Also, I checked this out last time, and I installed the Inkscape on this, or install Inkscape. This is one that I've heard recommended above Discover because of the issues with Discover. There's problems with it. We have all these categories over here to look at. And anyway, there's Inkscape. So you click it. And you mark it for installation right here. OK for its dependencies. Then when you're ready to install, you go through and find other things on. You want to do plugin help draw surveys. Another thing about that. But if that's something you did, then well, anyway, you apply changes here. Then your thing, and it starts taking off with its installation. So we'll be back in a minute. Moving on, back package manager, which is sort of like Synaptic almost. Now we'll go back over here. We have system tools. You have terminal. That comes a Q terminal out of the box. And you also have your Q terminal drop down. And I installed Kitty on it myself, so Kitty's not done come pre-installed on this puppy unless you install it yourself. But it's pretty easy to install. It's easy to do. And that's, you know, all your preferences. Now your preferences are where it's a little bit weird about this, in that they have them all over the place. What I'd like to do is your LQT settings is kind of like your control panel. If you go up here, LT configuration center, that includes all the stuff you see down below it. And you add this desktop. Then you have it up here. It's easier access. You can go straight to your configurations. Or you can drag it down here. Put in your thing there. Down your panel, you put in your quick launch icons. And then it brings up all these things. You get all these options. Appearance, brightness, date time. the appearance, widget styles. You can tell what widget style your widget's gonna be. Icon themes, LXQT themes, fonts, settings for your cursor. These cells there. Of course, there you can get minimal configuration, so it's not a real configurable desktop in that regard, but there's about some configuration you can do to it. And you power management's down here. Your session settings. And monitor settings, software sources. That's like the mirrors, I assume. Check that out. Make sure that's what it is. These two privileges. Open this up. Yeah, it's your repository settings. Canonical, other sources, your PPAs. You get PPAs are installed here. Updates. Where you need your updates from. Authentication additional drivers. That's that. Yeah, so there's stuff in here you use to help configure things. What this does include though is all this stuff here. Copple upgrade, alternative configuration, advanced network configurations, input methods, printers, screen savers, software sources. Now I just looked at screen savers. I have this turned off. Then the only thing you might have noticed it didn't have there was keyboard shortcuts, which of course I use a lot. I'll show you some of the keyboard shortcuts I've set up on here. Now there is a way to set them up, but it's a little more manual, and the same as it was before with OpenBox. Because when I used Lubuntu first time, I had to figure out how to do this. I figured it out after a while, and I figured out how to set them up. But it is a little bit more, it's not as easy as some of the other, like Cinnamon, some of those keyboard shortcuts they have set up. What you gotta do is first you open up your terminal and make that bigger. Then you cd to thing. And there you go here. There's your configuration file. LXQT-rc.xml. So use your favorite editor, which mine's Nano. Mechanical keyboard, I have trouble typing on it, so easy to hit on the key. Alright, now configuration file. Down here, you go down please. Let's see. Keyboard. Right there's keyboard. Now the keyboard. This is your keybind for desktop switching. So if I want to switch desktops in here, I can get Control A to go down, Control A, or alternate key, Control alternate to go down. or to the right, to the left, using your arrows and Control A. That's keybinds for desktop switching. Keybinds for Windows. You notice I changed this. This is standard Alt F4. I changed Alt Q, quit. Keybinds for Windows switching. And keybinds for Windows switching with arrow keys. Then toggle full screen. And I added in, got that in the comment when I do this one. Starting right here. Program. So I have a Firefox set to alternate B. Now one of the things I found out is you can't really easily use the meta key or the super key, whatever you want to call it. In here I tried M and W for Windows key. S stands for shift, so you can't use that. I understand some places have H. I haven't tried H yet, so I was experimenting with that. But I got that Firefox, got alternate return for Kitty. And I got my standard Control Shift W for LibreOffice, and that's how you do that. You say keybind key right there, and then you name it, execute, and you tell what the command should be, and action keybind for the next one. But under this like that. Pretty simple actually, once you figure out what to do. So I'll save all my changes I made here. And that's how you put your key bindings in. And that allows you to do a lot of things. Like I was doing this. I have the Alt Q, close the window. Just like that. Not bad, huh? Now widgets. Yeah, you notice I have this widget over here. This is not standard widget I did in. It tells the temperature of my computer, CPU. Currently it's cooking around 31 degrees, says Fahrenheit. It's pretty good. Anyway, go to add widgets, you click on this, go over here. And manage widgets. Then you have these widgets here. There's all the widgets are down here in this list along the panel here. Alright. So, I'm going to add a widget. Here, hit the plus button. There's all those widgets you can add to it. Monitor your CPU. Right there. Click on that. Add widget and it'll add it to the list down there. Then you move it around by selecting it. Here's, yeah, right. And then just watch it move. And up front or put it anywhere I want like that. Just move it around. That's how you manage your widgets. And I don't know if there's ways you get more widgets or not. Let's check it out real quick. And Add widget. I don't know if there's an easy way to get widgets, just for widgets. Anyway, that's one thing out of there. You can explore those at your own leisure when you're ready. But this computer has in the past had some trouble with temperature, so that's why a good little widget to have on there. Know what temperature your computer is. And you can also click on the widget, right click on it, bigger sensors. It changes, it comes default Celsius, but you change it to Fahrenheit. You put your bar width here, and you can update intervals in seconds. Currently at 39 degrees centigrade, it says. It's critical when it hits 200, apparently. 200 would be pretty hot, I think, especially if you read Celsius. If you're talking Celsius, that's like double boiling. So yeah, this other thing I've done over here is to change the clock. And the way you do that, you go up here. This part they actually fixed and updated since I last used Lubuntu on LXD desktop. You figure world clock. You go up here and it tells you 12-hour format. You show seconds. Pad hours with 0, that kind of thing. Custom format, or you guys preset formats happening here apparently. Or short, custom. And you have your date here. It comes default with just a 12-hour clock, 24-hour clock, and no date. So you have to click this date if you want the date after. You also put above or below or before the time if you want it. I chose after I put it below, but it kind of cuts off the bottom of the date there, so I put it after. Had day with zeros, long month, and day of week. Names. Have names of the week you want there too. That's how you change that. It used to be whenever I first used Ubuntu that I had to actually go into the date and plug in the percent, H and percent M and all that kind of stuff. I had to format it that way, however I had to look it up and figure out how to do it. So this is archaic, but it's a little updated now. You can just click, click, click. It's a GUI interface that way. The only thing that's still not GUI is the open box settings, configuration file for open box. I didn't have as much problem with connecting up with wireless as I used to. It used to be this dropped all the time. Matter of fact, still have in my bin file a script that I use to fix the network connection with. Goes in, it deletes a file out, and runs another command or two, and then it reboots the system for you. It brings up how to do all that. So I think that's all we'll do for now on this. Nice first look of what you got on here and all that kind of stuff. So let's go talk about it. Alright, there you go. That was Lubuntu. And we have how did I like it? I liked it pretty well, pretty good. Could I use it as my daily driver? If I had to, I suppose I could. I mean, I've kind of moved beyond that. Yeah, even though they updated a lot of it so it looks a lot more snazzier, especially on the backgrounds and the icons and stuff like that. They've updated that quite a bit. Back in the day, it kind of looked a little outdated even for 2011, but yeah, some of the dialogues on this version still they have the outdated look to them, but it's a kind of a minor thing. If you really want a great modern appearance, probably isn't quite the distro for you. Also, if you're a new user, and this isn't one I'd recommend because of shortcut keys. They're problematic and that you have to go edit the configuration file to put those in there. And if you want a GUI interface for your shortcut keys, this isn't distro for you. So yeah, you use shortcut keys a lot like I did back in the day. I learned how to do it, so obviously it was my first successful distro, and I was on it for about 6 years before I started switching around, experimenting with other stuff. But yeah, it's improved quite a bit since as far as looks of it go, since I was installed it and ran it back in the day. And the date is more functional. You don't have to go in and put it in the percent things to get the date fixed like I did initially. Had to figure that out. Googled it. So this is archaic. So yeah, but now you just can GUI it. It's got a GUI interface for configuring the clock. Don't have to do all that stuff anymore. So yeah, and the only other problem I had back then was the network manager kept falling off on me. Kept kicking out all the time. And I read online a lot of other people have the same problem with it. I like it. It's nice, and like I say, if I had to use it, I could use it pretty well, pretty easily. I experimented a little bit with trying to install a dynamic tiling window integrated with the desktop. I'm trying to experiment with that some, see how to do that. There's pieces of puzzle I'm not sure I figured out yet, so I may make a video about that when I do figure it out at some point. I have a dynamic tile window manager integrated in my system, which I kind of like. The only other systems like that are Pop! OS, and KD Plasma has a tiling window dynamic tile window manager you can install as a script on there, and use KWin dynamically tiling window managers, and it works pretty well. There's a few little glitches and problems with it, but they're just minor annoyances more than anything. Pop! OS probably the most clean if you want to experiment with using dynamic tiler. You can use it floating or use it dynamic, either way you want to go. It's pretty clean looking and pretty good dynamic tiler window manager they got in there. If you want to experiment with and just get used to those things, yeah. Or you can go full board and just go into dynamic tiler window managers. I use i3 or Awesome, one of those two, to get started, because those are the easiest to use, I think, out of the bunch that you could install. Anyway, I'm going far afield from where I'm supposed to go with this, so that was Lubuntu. And yeah, you may like it, you may want to use it. The main reason I used it back then was it had low memory footprint. I figured even though I had a lot of memory in my computer, I figured the lower memory I had in there, the system took up, the more I had for programs and stuff. So it was more of a, I wanted something snappy and fast. That was my main concern back then. I wanted something snappy and fast. Figured a low memory footprint would accomplish that, and it did pretty much. I mean, I could open up things on my computer. They, like I said before, they would open up, and fast as the last day they used it lasted in 5 or 6 years. It was at the beginning of 5 or 6 years, and I never had used that before. When Windows, slowly went down until it became boggy and ran slow, and everything ran slow on it. But Linux just stayed perky all the time. You may have noticed at the beginning of the video a little subscribe button that came floating around through there. It was a subscribe button that I created using shortcut keyframe animations. If I get comments on it, I might put a video out on that at some point. But how I did that is kind of half accident, half on purpose. Accident was pretty nice, so I went with it, and you what you show on there. But I played around with it, and it's pretty fun. Hit the notification bell, you can hit like the video and all that good stuff. Everything you want to do to it, just do to it, The only thing about just hit buttons. Yeah, so anyway, That's it for the day. We'll get back to the Manjaro Linux reviews next week. Yeah, may the Linux Force be with you. Bye.